Hey, it's Night. Welcome to the Night Show. Today, we're going to be talking about the Endgame. Dun dun dun. I know, very dramatic music playing in the background as we talk about a very delicate subject for some, I guess. Regardless, though, this isn't going to be your typical discussion in which I complain profusely about the Endgame and how hard it is or isn't. I personally believe that the Endgame is hard enough, and anyone who doesn't think so either doesn't play Genshin anymore or has spent too much money on their account. Look, maybe I'm in the minority, but I genuinely enjoy Spiral Abyss most of the time. I view each refresh of the Abyss as some sort of installment or chapter that I have to find a way to solve using the tools I have available to me on my account. I remember how adamantly I grinded to finally be able to clear with 36 stars. As a new gacha player coming from competitive FPS games, it felt amazing to finally achieve that first clear, back around Hu Tao's release. Today I want to discuss endgame formats, or rather the lack thereof. I'd like to see the endgame variety increase, and I'm not talking in terms of something like HSR, in which they have curated bullet point endgame modes, one for multi-wave, one for boss killing, and one for all-purpose clears. As much as I do like Spiral Abyss, it has its own issues, such as playing against the clock as opposed to playing against the enemies you are facing. Or lately, even how it feels as though the Abyss has been incredibly curated towards specific attack types or elements. Although this has always been the case, it seems like lately the demand for either side is intensified in one regard or another. One side, I need a good AoE team that has enough single target damage, plus at least one pyro. And also, by the way, you need a bow so you can quickscope the flying bastards that like to run from you. These problems could be less egregious, however, if we had more diversity in endgame selection. And then there's Imaginarium Theater. Nah, it's really not that bad, and to be fair, it has improved a bit. I believe that Hoyo has listened in regards to surveys that were sent out pertaining to theater, and have actually implemented good changes into it. So potentially, it could get even better. Some of my big gripes for theater is the restrictions that it forces into team construction. While I can see the fun in having a somewhat roguelike endgame, it is not for me. But the worst aspect is that the template is pretty much the same as Abyss. You fight on a flat floor with a timer and a few added objectives. That's okay though, because I'm sure that there are a lot of people that enjoy theater. I'm looking at you, day one players, with a plethora of units completed. Sometimes it does just feel as though it is that though, a horizontal investment power check. One great thing about theater though is that it does truly incentivize building more diverse typings and more units within those typings. But those are the only two formats we have, and they function relatively similar to each other. We are playing the most successful gacha game ever created. Keep that in mind, think about that a bit. I'd like to see the devs come up with some engaging and creative endgame experiences. Imagine if we had an endgame in which you needed to curate a team that could survive a certain duration against giga mobs. Instead of having a timer in front of you, it simply says, Objective, Survive. Imagine what kind of diversity that would add for your cast of go-to characters. All of a sudden, Noelle is Thanos for surviving. Healing characters now have more inherent importance instead of just being there to supplement Farina draining our life points. Even team synergy would matter in different ways here, like cooldowns being cohesive so not to interfere with uptime. They could even design dynamic scenarios in which these fights take place so that instead of fighting on a flat Abyss floor, we have a more diversified experience. This would be awesome to strategize on different territories and structures. Also, I'm sure I wouldn't lose my mind when the enemy I'm fighting is on unlevel terrain and it causes me to miss all of my abilities. But that would be the fun of it. It'd at least be something new and exciting. Or even imagine if there were dungeons for players to raid. These could be set pieces that they design, like the castle from Fischl's event. It could have puzzles and exploration elements, while also having various enemy types inside. Then, at the end, we face a boss that hopefully doesn't one-shot us, to inevitably lead to that sweet, sweet loot. Don't even get me started on how fun it'd be to have something like this that is multiplayer accessible. Hey, we can dream, can't we? This kind of mode would also allow traversal options and would again incentivize having healers in your party. Or imagine if we had endgame-esque challenges that are specifically tailored around characters with low usage rates. These could even be used as mastery trial type scenarios. Like if you wanted to master Kirara, then you must assemble a team that utilizes Kirara with enough power to clear whatever challenge they give you. They could even expand on their defense mode that they have in the Abyss already, because I know all of you love that part of the Abyss, right? Hello? Guys? Joking aside, there could be even more objective-based endgame options. Like what if we needed to stop specific waves and this increases the necessity for more mobile units? For instance, smaller, weaker mobs that we need to stop from moving into specific areas, but you need to be able to keep up with them, so now more mobile comps are necessary. A niche example is Yae Miko using her skills for mobility instead of just wasting your time on field. It's now a movement option and adds a boon to her kit in a potential scenario. I don't know, these are just a few ideas I was able to conjure up while writing this script. I do know that by creating diverse endgame experiences like this, Hoyo will incentivize players to use some of the lesser pulled units or invested in units. This also incentivizes people to, in turn, pull for these characters more often and then make Hoyo more money. So there is no reason for them not to do this. Anyways, do you have any ideas for the endgame modes? What do you think of the current endgame? Why is Crushed Eyes so much worse than Cubed Eyes? Regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.